I'm on the CWU Libraries Open Education Resource Guide, and I'm going to take a look at finding resources. This is a good place to get started because it's not necessarily subject specific, and many of the things that are on this page are across the board for subjects. The first place I would recommend taking a look is OpenStax. These are textbooks from a variety of subject areas, and you can search to subject areas. They don't have as much in the humanities, that's not really their strength, and so they have many more textbooks in science and mathematics. So when you go to that subject, you can see what's available in those topics, and then click into the book itself. You also don't have to use the whole thing. So if you are just looking for a few chapters, that's always an option. And through the table of contents and going to the specific sections, you can, recommend just a part of the book and mix and match things together. Another place I would take a look at on this guide is the Open Education Resource Commons. So this is kind of a repository of many different sources pulling from a variety of places. It might be pulling from the OpenStax resource we just looked at, and you can search any topic that you're looking for content on. In this case, for an example, I've searched microbiology infectious disease, and I've got 19 different sources. You can look for educational standards, since these are kind of across the board of education levels. You'll find a lot of high school and K through 12 materials in here. You can also look for a material type. You might find in some cases here you've got full course, activity or a lab, something interactive, or a lecture. So those are, it's not just text materials in the Commons. For this example of infectious disease and microbiology, it will jump you out to the resource itself. So we're going to continue. And here it's taking me to Open Michigan. So it's indexing from beyond the repository itself. And when I'm looking at the materials, I can see that there are some PowerPoints. So these are some lectures or materials that someone's made openly available, and they've listed the license for how they're allowing that material to be used. Another resource on this page that I'm going to take a look at is Merlot 2. This one is also a repository and has a variety of different types of material as well. Some of it may be indexed in the OER Commons and some of it may not. So you could search from here, type in a particular topic or content area you want to find some stuff on, or you can go to academic discipline portals. That's going to be the subject areas, or browse the collection, and this just kind of gives you a sample of the types of material that's in here. This one's kind of nice because up front they'll list out what you're looking at, what kind of material it is. Here we're talking about a DNA simulation, and it gives you the author and the date of production. If you're looking for something really recent or something that's been recently updated, you can sort by that as well. This is a pretty big collection with 92,000 results in their browsable material. So lots of options for choosing from there. Something else I want to highlight on this list, and there are more that we're not going to talk about today, but Hottie Trust Digital Library. So this collection is a bunch of materials that are in the public domain. So these are items that have been in the public domain for a long time, or they have recently come into the public domain. Some of them may be still under copyright, and so only the title page or part of the text is going to be available. But this is nice for anyone who is doing some digital humanities work or text analysis, because you kind of have the transcripts for many of these books as well into like an HTML readable format. But as you can see, here is you can get to the full view and the catalog record. And just for Alice Walker, that's pulling back 628,000 materials. So if you have a sense of the depth of this collection, it's quite large and is pulling from many different libraries to ultimately create such a big repository. Okay, so those are the things I wanted to highlight from this section. Something else that is kind of an interesting project is this Open Syllabus project. And the Open Syllabus project, going through Explorer, is pulling back, or it has, as you can see, mapping curriculum across 6 million syllabi. So these may be some syllabi that people uploaded, or it's using looking for syllabi that are openly available, and it's really analyzing for frequency of title use or titles recommended in a course. So here you have that titles piece. Most frequently assigned titles, this is kind of across the board, and it's not really zeroing in on a subject per se. But if you do go to fields and you can look at, let's take business, I can see some really commonly recommended or used or required titles in the field. And I can also see a snapshot of how that's changed over time and whether those titles have changed. In this case, titles seem to be being recommended more over the years. In other cases, I've seen it where they decrease significantly, and maybe that older edition just wasn't cutting it anymore. This isn't to say that things that end up on this list are the best in their field, just that they are the most used. And as you kind of explore your own open education resources and what you want to put in your class, that may change. But this is kind of an interesting analysis tool. It also has this Galaxy feature from the website where you can look at how titles interact with each other in kind of a web. So here I have a literature cluster, and theater is over here, music's way over here, and the classics. Zooming in, you can kind of see how bubbles are closer to each other and begin to interlap or interlace and then get recommended in more than one field or one discipline. And this graphic could be used, it's maybe just interesting for you to know about, but it could also be used as a teaching tool with your students to demonstrate how the conversation can go between departments or fields. Back over on this research guide, there's some more material lower down on this page, but I wanted to show you the multimedia. So as you are building courses online or in person, using some multimedia material can be a good way to make it interactive with your students or provide some variety. These first two pieces up here are repositories. These are actually licensed content, are subscription. So most everything else on this list is open and freely available, but these are ones that CWU purchases, and so they're available to you, but everything lower is pretty much open access. One collection that I think I just want to take a minute of note is the National Film Board of Canada has a lot of documentaries and independent films, and a lot of free ones, and these can be very short, ranging from short 20-minute films to hour-and-a-half long independent films. The Point of View video collection, independent nonfiction films. These are really nice for pretty much any discussion opener. If you're looking for just a short film that's kind of about a social issue that you want your students to be talking about, these can be really interesting ways to break into that discussion, or just have people get an example of some nonfiction film and documentaries. So that's the point of view series from PBS. There are some other image collections in here and a few sound collections that you can explore. Lots to explore in the open education resource world, and I hope you find this video helpful as you get started.